Hello, everyone. Welcome to another show here. Today is Tuesday, November 29, 2022. So we're coming to the end of the month. We're going to kind of finish up on some of our tunes that we've been featuring. So, real cold here in the studio, so just warm up here a little bit. Excuse me. So we've had Days of Wine and Roses. So with that tune, we've talked about chord voicings. We've done analysis on it, uh, and we've looked at Wes Montgomery's solo. And then for the regular open channel, we had the melody video, and then we did a more in-depth, step-by-step sort of idea with that tune as well during the month. So yeah, so we've had that tune, and I've been thinking a little bit about our tunes and how we're fitting things in. I was thinking maybe of placing the maybe instead of thinking strictly of a blues tune, maybe thinking of just kind of a shorter form sort of tune, and then having blues kind of fall into that, because there are some tunes I've been thinking about here. So anyway, think about that, and so I was also thinking maybe like Latin tunes. So I don't want to do too many tunes, but find a good number, maybe 3 or 4. All right, so let's get into our talk. I'm going to do a little playing here in a minute, but I would get into our talk a little bit. And so the talk today, under the umbrella of practice ideas and concepts, is little takeaways that you can use to work into your own practice sessions. So let's talk a little bit about this one. So let's say we have a chord sound. Let's say F, since we're talking about that tune. So let's say we have an F. This is an F major 9. All right. And then So we have these tones, and this is one area where I want to kind of create a little bit of a distinction between chord tones and then also tones that are consonant on a certain sound. So tones like, say, the root third, fifth, and maybe the sixth, those would be fairly consonant. Maybe the 9. Right, so the major 7 is a little bit kind of distant. So what this ties into is some of our talks about bebop scales and things. So essentially try to get some of those as a concept, not something to do all the time, but as a technique, is to take chord tones and have them land on the beat. So 1 and 2, or consonant tones, I should say, and 3 and 4 and 1. And then we talked about this a little bit. There is something that I'm going to get to that we haven't talked about yet, but this is kind of just a little bit of review and kind of the direction where things are going here. So, so we have and 3 and 4, and then we go and, right? So that way we're playing these consonants on the strong beat. So that time I included the 6 and the 9. And so in that case, you have a 10-note sort of scale. All right. So if we apply that to, let's say, a dominant 7th, let's say we have A7. So that could be maybe a 5 of our 6th chord in the key of F. So that's something that will come up a bit. All right, so let's say we have these tones. So we play some beats. This would be our strong beat, and then the and of the beat, and then we get a chord tone, right? Change that. There we go. It's better. All right. So, and then you might try, putting a chord under it so you can kind of hear it. Now let me see if I can get this. This organ going here. An octave here. Okay. So I'll get that to sustain. Hopefully that's not too loud. Let me check the levels here. All right, so hopefully that's not too loud there. So I'm just gonna sustain that. So where are we? Let's go with that. There we go. Okay, there you go. So that would be a chord tone. Okay, so what I'm playing here is root note, and then a passing tone into the flat 7, right? And then a passing tone over to the 5th, and then over to the 3rd, over to the root. So that's a scale called the Phrygian dominant, if you think of it in terms of a scale. But we're going to play around with that and some other interesting concepts here in a minute. But let's see if we would play a tune or two. How about we play a little bit on Days of Wine and Roses. Yeah, we'll see if we can listen for that. I'm going to take it fairly slow, and we'll see if we can get our, let's try to get our organ trio sound going here. So I only have 3 more days left on this trial for this Hammond B3 VST. So I'm really enjoying it. It's really pretty cool. All right. So I'll play, and that's kind of the sound that I was just playing there a minute ago here with the kind of drum pad thing. All right, so let's check our okay, I think should be good. Let's kind of cross our fingers. All right, so we'll play a little bit on this tune. Days of Wine and Roses, and see if you can kind of listen for some of those concepts that we talked about. We'll try to fit those in here. All right, excuse the false start there. So let's fix that up a little bit. About the delay there. All right, should be good here. All right. Well, not exactly the sound I saw before, but um, anyhow, I might try that again a little bit later. Let's see. I'll bring in the. I think I see what was going on. Well, so I've been trying to work on getting a good. Oops. Getting a good like keyboard sound. So I messed around with some settings. Fortunately, I found those settings. I just kind of happened upon them. They're actually pretty obvious to find. It turns out, but so we ran into some issues last week. If you were listening to the podcast or checking out the videos, in the member area on YouTube, where some of the organ sound is just kind of carrying and getting really long, and just starting to overlap and become muddy and everything. All right, so here's kind of an interesting concept, sort of where I want to take this a little bit here, which is that we might play the scale. Let's say like we'll check the scale. So let's say we have let's say we have that A7 again here. Okay, and then we'll play with that. So okay, here we go. So we have, say, A7. Okay, so let's say we play similar to that, but let's try, play, okay, so there's that Phrygian dominant. Now, what if we wanted a scale that's a little different? Let's say we wanted something like this. Okay. So that's one of the modes of the harmonic major scale. So let's say we want that. Well, sort of a problem arises when we have that as far as landing on the strong beats. So let's say we have the chord again. Okay, so we play like that. So what happened on this note is that we landed on a strong beat with that tone, which it was fine in and of itself. But for the goal of what our purpose is here today, is to have the chord tones land on those strong beats. Right, so what can we do? So we're going to take the scale and try playing it sort of out of sequential order. Right, so let's say, so play like this. And that's kind of interesting because it starts to sound a little bit more like a line too, with it, and not so much a scale when you think about that. So, and also it is probably more of a conceptual sort of thing. So, okay. So we're playing this one, the lower tone, before we're playing this higher tone. Right, and we can take this into other scales, one area that's or chord scale type sounds. Let's say we're looking at the minor 7 flat 5. Looks like right now string number 2 is not showing up on the neck, so just be aware of that. All right, so so let's say we're building something in. What if we want to fill this out? So let's say, let's say we have a scale like that. So that's coming out of D harmonic minor. But we're starting on the E. Okay, so there's our issue with the odd number notes, right? So we have 7 notes for what our purposes are here today, which is to play notes on the strong beats and maybe play continuous eighth notes. Then we come up with an issue. So then we can say, okay, well, we'll use what we know about the bebop scale. So we'll say it's a predominant kind of this chord here. So create a little bridge between the root and the 7, flat 7. So, okay. And then, okay, so that works out pretty well. Okay, so that works out pretty nicely. So let's listen to what that sounds like. So E minor 7, flat 5. Okay, so. Okay, so that works out pretty well. What if we kind of aspire to maybe make it a little more chromatic? Okay, so then we might say, okay, well, what are we gonna do? So we have, there's a lot of space in between this note and this note, right? So maybe we could fill in some of that space. So now, then since this note kind of sits next to the flat 7, it's going to feel like the end of the beat. So if we play continuous eighth notes, so then we can kind of solve our problem. But that is the most consonant compared to the flat 6. So what if we played like that? So we had, and this can kind of help build some lines and come up with some ideas. So. So kind of hear that. So. Okay, I wasn't counting how many, but I think that's 10 notes. So so let's check it out again. Okay, so we have. All right, so there's a kind of a concept or sort of more maybe conceptual sort of thing that you could maybe bring into your practice session there, which is the point of this this kind of talk, which is practice ideas and concepts, which is going to be regularly on Tuesdays. All right, so yeah, let's work with our rhythm section here again, and see. Maybe play with the same one here. I feel like the drums could come up a little bit. All right, and. All right, so I'll play along with that a little bit. Go a little quicker. All right, well, that didn't work. We'll have to scratch that. All right, so I'll do more experimentation with all that. And see how that all goes and kind of lands. Let's do more of a Latin feel on it, and kind of go back to our original thing here, the bass, more traditional bass, and keyboards. Maybe that's not the right word to use, but rather than sort of an organ trio. So I'm going to keep working on that organ trio. I'm kind of excited. I was actually trying to put together an organ trio for a gig over the or last winter. All right, so let's try this one out here. And thanks for checking out this video. Thanks for supporting the channel. If you're checking this out on the podcast, thanks for listening, and hopefully subscribing to that as well. Okay, so just to kind of sum up our talk for today, we're thinking about the idea of playing chord tones on strong beats, and then maybe taking, it could take any note from the chromatic scale or any note really that's outside of those tones. So half steps are very effective. So try to take some scales and just or chords and see if you can do some problem solving on how can we get the notes to kind of line up in various ways. And again, this is not something that we need to do all the time, but this is a good practice tool for us to work at outlining changes and playing like that. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for checking out this video. Thanks for checking out the live stream and all that. And let me know if you have any questions or requests on tunes and things that you might want to do or play. I might play one more here. Just do a little bit of Blue Bossa. I think I played this one a little bit in the last live stream, so see if we can get this one kind of queued up. For us here. All right, and maybe we'll take a little faster tempo. I think I'm going to keep the same basic drum feel here. All right. All right, everybody. Thanks again for checking out this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a great day, great practice session.